Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk to you about something that's been on my mind lately. A couple days ago I finished reading Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Growing up as a kid who loved school and enjoyed learning, it was just a matter of time before I stumbled upon the Harry Potter series. And when I did, I absolutely fell in love with the books. I read all of them. I wasn't that person who went back and reread all of them multiple times, but I was a pretty big fan of both the books and the movies. When I heard that there was going to be a new installment in the series, I knew that I had to get a copy and read it as quickly as possible. So when it came out, I started reading and I finished it in 2 days in the midst of preparing for my graduation party. I have a lot to talk about with this book, but I haven't been able to discuss it with anyone, so I wanted to start a conversation with you about the book and whether or not you like it. At this point, I'd like to give you a spoiler alert. If you don't want any of the details spoiled from the book, or if you don't want anything given away, then you should probably exit out and then come back to this when you're done reading and take a look and join the conversation. I don't know about any of you, but I was a bit skeptical going into this book, knowing that it had been written by not only J.K. Rowling, but a few other people, and it was adapted to be performed on a stage. When I think back to all the other Harry Potter books, I think of these huge books that are in novel format with chapters and everything, but that wasn't the case here, so I was a bit wary about how good the book was going to be. I found that element to be a bit difficult because when I was reading the books, I would be able to let my mind wander and imagine what everything looked like, and I could be creative and think of what I wanted it to be like. But then with the play, it was a bit different because you had the stage directions, so it was really obvious how they wanted you to perceive all of the different elements of the story. I remember reading the first book. What got me hooked was just the fact that these kids were going away to this magical school to completely immerse themselves in that culture and learn about witchcraft and wizardry. I just thought that was so exciting. So when Albus started going back to school, I felt that same nostalgia, and they really tapped into that, and I did enjoy that part because it took me back to that first book and I really enjoyed it. I also enjoyed the fact that they employed parallelism. When Albus went to Hogwarts, they started to use some of the same events that Harry went through to kind of draw comparisons between the two, and that kind of set the foundation for the story. And the reader knew that this was going to be about how Albus couldn't really live up to his father's expectations and his father's reputation. The story was mainly centered around the theme of time, which I appreciate because it's different, but on that same note, it kind of strayed away from some of the typical Harry Potter storylines. They did make sure to employ this theme in as many circumstances as possible. So with the scene changes, they would switch between different times at Hogwarts for Albus and go really quickly to show how time was passing. And with the subsequent time travel sequence, that kind of hits the nail on the head and reiterates the theme of time. But from that point on, I thought that the plot and the storyline was pretty basic. I say this because I found some of the elements kind of predictable because the story followed the basic time travel storyline where the character goes back in time, messes something up, goes back to the future, finds out that everything is completely different, and then tries to go back to fix it. Also, I mentioned how I enjoyed the fact that the writers brought in some of the older elements to tap into the nostalgia that the readers have for the older novels, but I felt like they were using it too much when they were spending so much time with the Triwizard Tournament, bringing back characters like Cedric, Snape, Dumbledore, and Hagrid, and it just kind of seemed like too much to me. Another element that I did enjoy was the fact that they introduced the idea that Voldemort could have a child, and then I thought it was really interesting when it turned out to be Delphi. And then of course the ending does really pull on the heartstrings when Harry realizes that Albus is different, but that's okay, and they can come together to fight a common cause. So in conclusion, I would say that the story was enjoyable overall, but it did fall short of some of my expectations, which I kind of anticipated would happen since I did enjoy the previous novel so much. And I made this video today to help start a conversation, so if you have opinions on this book, I would love it if you could share it in the comments or shoot me a message. I really want to talk about this with someone. I haven't had a chance to do that. So please join the conversation and be a part of it so that we can help enlighten each other and learn more about this story and how it relates to the previous novels. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you want me to do more of these videos of reviews of books, movies, anything you have. I'd be more than happy to do it. And if you enjoyed it, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to me down below. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you again next week.